So over the summer, I got sent a brand new pair of carbon wheels, and I was super excited about getting them set up and taking them out on a ride. However, on my first ever ride of them, this happened. Life was probably going a bit too well because that's a brand new tyre with what looks like a massive nail in it. Carbon fibre is not recyclable. So I had a brand new set of wheels that were basically unrideable. Guys, today we're gonna sort that out. Welcome back to The What Life. Let's roll. So to give you some bit more detail, I went over a screw that ended up embedding itself in the rim of my wheel, and I had to unscrew it to get it out, and it's left a very small hole. My first instinct was whether, I was ever going to be able to ride these again. I took the screw out, and there's a very small hole basically next to one of the spoke holes. I will show it to you in a second. I did message the manufacturer, and they very kindly, as you guys might know, I kind of get provided these wheels by Winspace, by the Lun guys. And they said, send it back and we'll send you another set. And I didn't really want to do that because it felt like I might be potentially kind of sending a set of wheels back that kind of just end up getting thrown away, and I don't like wasting things. So I thought, I'm going to take the time to try and get these fixed. Carbon Cycle Solutions messaged and said, actually, you know what, you can fix that up. We'll take a look at it and see whether we can fix it up. And I thought, why not? Let's take you guys through the journey of doing exactly that. The other thing is, I did reach out on Instagram to a few people, like, what can you do? And a few guys said, actually, you can just put some glue in it, because it's a very small hole, as I'll show you in a sec. You can just put some glue in it and then sand it down, re-tape over it, put some more rim tape on, and that should do it. But I thought I'd do it this way because it feels like when I'm descending on a brand new set of wheels, it would be nice to know that it's been done properly and it's not just me adding a bit of super glue to carbon and then hoping that it holds up. And also, I am curious, can you fix other parts of your carbon bike if it's not fractured with super glue? Let's find out. So we're here with the guys from Carbon Cycle Solutions, and I've got one question for them, which is pretty simple really. What number of bikes that come for repair are chain sucks?
Probably 90% of the damage that we see is caused by a chain suck.
Yeah, so chain suck is when the chain comes off the inside of your front chain ring and gets stuck between the frame and effectively your chain ring, and you end up yanking it out, tearing a load of carbon fiber. Is that an easy repair? Because this is my big question, because I might have a bike that I have some chain suck on.
Yeah, I mean, we can repair most repairs that come through this workshop are fixable. We very rarely turn anything away.
And then I'm going to let you look at this very quickly, and you can tell me whether it's something that realistically I could just leave and tape over, whether I could super glue it, or whether it is best to come see a professional. Okay. And bear in mind, have you ever had someone had a nail go right through a tyre and then into...
No, this is our first time.
Yeah, mine too. This is the small hole that it has left, and there's no fracturing.
No, I think with carbon, because it delaminates, and it's so close to one of the spoke holes, over time that will get worse, and it will propagate into the spoke hole itself, so that
compromise the spoke hole.
Yeah, that'll just become bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. So it does need repairing. It's a minute piece of damage, but it does need to be
So that's addressed. Where the original, maybe you can just super glue it, was that was to effectively laminate it, is what you're saying, protect it. I know that that's not the way we're going to do it, that's not the way we suggest to do it, but in essence...
A quick fix could be to put some epoxy resin over the top, epoxy filler over the top, just to stop it from spreading, but it needs to be done properly. The fact that it's gone so close to that spoke hole is sheer coincidence, really. I mean, if it's gone in 2 millimeters this way, it probably wouldn't have caused any damage at all. You wouldn't have known about
just
it.
Just new rim tape.
Yeah.
That would have been nice. Funny that you can hit a nail that hard while cycling along.
What you have to bear in mind as well is that if it is carbon fibre, it's layers of material applied upon one on top of each other, and in the manufacturing process, then it consolidates down. And as you can see on the underside, it's blown through.
Yep.
So even though you don't necessarily see the crack along here, it can still travel through the material, and that's what you'll find when you're looking at surface damage. Initially you would just say, oh, there's only a little bit of damage there, but actually, as Richard was saying, alluding to it, propagates further around. So when you actually start taking the paint off and start looking, you actually see more damaged material. And that's really the main thing to ensure that you've got confidence, as you say, when you are riding down the hill, to make sure, yeah, I'm happy that I'm going to go at this speed down here and do this.
And to be fair, the manufacturer who I do work with offered to like, oh, send us back and we'll send you another thing. And I was like, do you know what? I don't like the idea of these potentially just being discarded.
Yeah.
I thought it would be more potentially life-threatening / interesting if I was to figure a way to fix them.
But very much repairable.
Yeah. If someone looks at their bike, how do they tell the difference between like not delamination, but like lamination cracks, and actual carbon damage? Is there a way to do that?
It's one and the same thing, really. You're just thinking about the cracks, whether or not they're visible cracks on the surface, as I say, or the cracks through the fibre as you go through. So the fibre is going to be strong in certain directions, and if you take an impact pretty much perpendicular to the surface, that's probably the weakest way for the carbon fibre, because it is all fibrous material. So as it punches through, it pushes everything else out the back. It's like when you see someone shooting at a piece of wood, small hole at the front and the back's all blown out. It's the same principle, because it's just laminate. It's just all fibrous material.
I was watching a documentary on OceanGate actually, when they were talking about carbon fibre. One of the interesting things that they spoke about was how like carbon fibre is designed to like attach it to something and you could pull it and it can hold and pull incredibly strong weights.
Yeah.
But if you try and do it in a means that it's not designed for, it's kind of got significantly less strength.
Absolutely, and that's why when the laminate's made up, it's made up with all the fibres going in different orientations to create extra strength. So it's not all in one way. And also you use different types of material with different types of weaves. Okay. So some are easier to drape over certain surfaces. So for example, if you're using uniform direction material, you wouldn't necessarily put it around a right angle, because it wouldn't sort of maintain itself. If you're using a cloth or a material, a woven material, it's more likely to stay together when you do that. But that's all part of the repair and the manufacturing process, and the engineers and designers decide which way the materials could be put in when they actually make the wheels and or frames and so on and so forth.
What's the best way when someone's like looking at their bike to figure out whether they have something that can be fixed or can't be fixed? Is it like send an email and photos, or
just get in touch with us through our website, send in some photographs, and we can do a desktop assessment and say yes or no. But as I said previously, we very rarely turn anything down. Most things we see can be repaired. This was a cracked where the seat clamp goes.
Okay.
So that was all cracked. So we've literally rebuilt that. This was a snapped chainstay. Came back from our paint shop yesterday.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's impressive. How much has carbon fibre prices increased over 4 years?
The raw material costs?
Raw material.
Probably 60%.
This is why bikes are getting more expensive. I know that it's part of why bikes are getting more expensive. Carbon fibre prices are that's 4 years, and you reckon 50-60%. That's twice as expensive. So everyone that comes online and talks about the price of carbon bikes and the differential between buying them, direct from China or buying Western brands, they are kind of meeting in the middle, because the Western brands can't get more expensive, but the Chinese brands, it is expensive. Carbon fibre is going up in price.
That's right, yeah. The more people that can figure out that carbon is repairable, then it's great, because it's a lot more cost effective to have a bike repaired than to throw it in the bin and go and buy a new frame. So it's just trying to alter people's mindset that just because you've got a crack in your frame, it's not destined for the skip. It can be fixed.
What is the usual kind of time frame? Is that about, or obviously it depends, but
yeah. So depending on the extent of the damage, and where the damage is on the frame, we always say 6 to 8 weeks, which includes stripping the bike down, doing the repair, repainting it, and then rebuilding it. So it's about 6 to 8 weeks from cradle to grave.
Right, we're with the boys. They have said that they don't normally repair wheels for the very simple reason that they've never seen something like that before. I don't think that's ever happened to anyone before, but it's happened to me. Secondly, I asked them kind of what sort of cost it is to repair these types of things. And as a ballpark, something that's happened there, which is mostly labor costs, they reckon between £200 to £300. Things for like chain sucks, depends on the amount of damage. That can be kind of £200, £300, £400, £500. So this is the carbon fiber world. It is getting more expensive. They did tell me that these boys have worked within the Formula One industry and took me through the process of curating and heating and laminating and epoxies, and it was a little bit kind of over my head, but I feel like we're in good hands, and I'm going to take you guys through the process with me. So next time, in a second, you're going to see what the guys have done to fix this wheel. We are finally back at Carbon Cycle Solutions to pick up my rear wheel, the Lun Hyper. It's the wide one. I think it's like 25 internal width. I got it over the summer. First ride, nail in the rim. Let's go and check it out. A bit of a unique one for them because they haven't had to fix something on the bed of a rim before. So we're going to see what they did, and I get to take it home, build it up, take it out for a ride. Gents.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, come on in.
Oh, here we go. It still looks brand new. Wonder why. Okay.
There we go. So all of that damage has been.
Wow, that is awesome. That is. I mean, I am. If I'm honest, because it was that kind of small nick, and I was thinking, oh, like maybe. That looks like you've had to do quite a bit of work to it. Mm-hmm. It's comforting to see loads of layers of carbon fiber. Like, as in, I didn't really know what to expect. I just thought maybe a tiny little patch over the top, and then just like loads.
No, it's been completely. Like,
How are you? Looks like it's been completely like taken apart and then rebuilt.
Yeah. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs. So we had to increase the size of the hole to make sure all the delamination was removed. This template was already pre-made before we did that, and then it's laid on, bonded on, rubbed back, and so it's just using the existing geometry of the wheel to create a template for us to remove the damage and then bond a piece back in that's exactly the same geometry.
I'm really glad we saved a wheel. Like I know, like after like coming last time and hearing about how unrecyclable carbon fiber is and stuff like that. Like, if the prospect was to ship it back and then they send another one, and then I presume this just gets put into a corner or
probably
torn up.
Yeah,
I'm really glad we got to save it. So I appreciate that, and I would have kind of gone through a process somehow to try and do that. So you reckon I can just tape?
Just put your
tubeless.
I take it you're running tubeless.
Tubeless.
Yeah, tubeless rim tape over the top. I mean, we could have painted it matte black.
Yeah, but
then
it's
you
going to be under.
It's going to be under tape.
So it was a bit of a two-man job.
Oh really?
Like, yeah, for certain parts of the process of like making sure that the form's like bonded in. So we made a silicone form of that shape, and so you need to support it. But obviously, because it's carbon fiber, you don't want to put loads and loads of weight on it. So it's about making sure it's braced, so you can get that form in and then get it tied up, and then also just making sure that it's all right. So we're both checking what's going on instead of just going, oh yeah, that looks all right. It's like two people check each. Same with all these jobs as well. Someone else checks the work as you're going along.
Oh, nice.
The actual carbon hoop itself will be one piece.
Which is what we've repaired.
Yeah, and then these are literally just fairings for aerodynamics. There's no structure in these at all. Oh. So all the strength is in the hoop, the main hoop, the spokes, and the hub.
Oh, that's interesting. I always kind of was under the impression that because obviously that looks like the bulk of the carbon fibre on a wheel, right?
So all the tensions are going through the spoke,
which then feeds into the
main hoop.
Hoop.
Yeah. So, but obviously these are just aerodynamic fairings.
If you find the damage, you have to remove that damage. You can't just tidy it up and then put a bit of carbon over the top of it. You have to get rid of it and then bond into and conform to what's there, and then that all is in the same line then. Especially with wheels, like technical profiles like that, you have to make sure it all runs in together, because as you can see there, it's really hard to get in, to blend that in without having to spend hours and hours and hours and only doing a little bit at a time. So the more accurate it is, the better. Hence why we make it bigger in the long run, to replace the whole thing, so that you barely notice it when it's done.
So I think the big takeaway, and we're going to go and ride this, we're going to go and set it up and we're going to ride it this afternoon or tomorrow afternoon, we'll see how much time we have. The big takeaway though is 100% the fact that if they can effectively fix this problem, which was the hoop of a rim, then they can fix anything. So those guys know what they're doing. We're going to see how it rides and give you some feedback on that, because obviously a wheel has a few more kind of connotations in terms of carbon layup than perhaps maybe fixing part of a frame. I just want to kind of see whether I can get this suited, booted, and take it out for a ride. So big shout out Carbon Cycle Solutions. Do drop them an email. It will be in the description down below, and I'll put a little thing at the bottom here, so you can just drop them a message if you have anything on your bike or any carbon component that you might just want to ask them whether it can be fixed, because I'm already impressed and we haven't even taken it out for a ride yet. Let's go lace her up. So now we're all back set up on the bike. We're going to take it out for its first ride now that we've had it fixed up. It's nice to have the peace of mind to know that it's been kind of fixed up by professionals and not just me putting some epoxy or some super glue, which it would have been super glue, I wouldn't have done epoxy. To fix it up, it means that I'm in a much better position and feel way more comfortable, and gives me that kind of peace of mind that I can take this and do whatever I want with it. And I'm excited because I get my new carbon wheels back. Let's go and see how they feel. These wheels have a star ratchet system, 23mm internal, they're 68 and they're disc brake. I'd basically have none of that if I didn't get these fixed up, because these are the kind of only set of wheels I have that have all those attributes. That wide internal, the 23mm. The others I have are maximum up to 21. So it was a shame to get a set of 23s and then just not be able to ride them. If it wasn't for the Carbon Cycle Solutions guys and being able to basically rebuild part of the bed of the rim, I don't think I would ride these with just some glue on or just kind of a self-done epoxy to try and fix it up. The technical know-how that you needed to fix this is like well beyond my DIY skills. But this is the thing, those guys can fix pretty much anything. And as I said, you can't recycle carbon fiber, but you can fix it up. And this was a challenge for them that they kind of just took on because they thought it would be quite interesting, and I am grateful for them for doing it. But if you guys have anything that is carbon fiber and you know, it rides exactly the same, just to circle back a little bit, it rides exactly as you'd expect. You know, I was kind of not worried, but like, what happens if it ends up, if it was me and there's just like a big clunk of glue on one side of the wheel, would that unbalance the wheel? And it doesn't seem like it's done anything like that. You know, I'm on really smooth roads and it just rolls perfectly. So testament to the guy's kind of skill and ability, far better than me with some super glue, I should imagine, and somewhat hardly surprising that. But carbon fiber cannot be recycled, but it can be repaired, and these guys have the technical know-how to fix some stuff up. So if you do have a bike or anything, it's about the peace of mind. That's it. That's what this is about. I now have peace of mind that my brand new wheel is as strong as it always has been or designed to be or will be, and we're back to perfect riding conditions. And if you have anything to do with carbon fiber that needs a touch up, I'll put the email for the Carbon Cycle Solutions down below, and you can just drop them a message and be like, hey, I've got this problem, is it fixable? And then you can ask them how much it would cost, that kind of stuff. But I am, you know, as I said, I've got a brand new set of wheels back, and they are absolutely brand new. This is like the 3rd ever time I've ridden them, and they feel good. Guys, thanks for joining today, and please do like and subscribe. I'm taking this bike out and these wheels to do a UCI Grand Fondo in Turkey, and that'll be next up. See you on another one soon, guys.